Hi, this is Andrew Fodge with Fitness by Andrew Personal Training out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And this is next month's, for the month of July, our Arizona Golf Association monthly fitness tip. And today I have with me John Greig, who's the head pro at Tatum, one of our colleagues that works with us here. And today we're going to talk about how to improve this hip hinge action when you get into a setup posture, when you're trying to maintain posture as you're going through your swing. If you cannot maintain some type of athletic hinge or bend here in the hips, you're going to have a really hard time developing any kind of speed, staying in posture, compressing the ball, everything. So what we're going to show you is a simple test that we use for our Titleist Performance Screening to see, is there restriction in the back of the legs, the hamstrings, the back of the hips, and if there is, 3 things that can help us fix that. Now, what I'm going to show you is a progression, starting from a very easy stretch to a mobility exercise to an actual strength exercise. You don't have to do all 3, but they do help in terms of improving this action with your body. So if you or your pro says, I need you to keep a better hinge in your hips, this is going to be a great progression of exercises for you to see. So the first thing we're going to do is the test. So a simple test. John, I want you to pretend that you're tight or restricted and try to touch your toes. Oh, so he's not touching his toes. The next part of the test is I want to make sure that each leg is independent or balanced to the other. So go ahead and put one big toe for me down. Try to reach for that foot. Okay, you can't touch that one. Let's try the other side. And reach. And that one he can barely touch. So there's a little bit of an imbalance where his right leg or hip is a little more restricted than the other. Now that's something that we can fix later, but hopefully as we go through this, those legs start to balance out. Now if you sit a lot, 8 hours, 10 hours a day, if you're on your feet and you just don't move around, if you're just stuck in one position, that's when these imbalances can happen. So we're going to try to change the patterns, change what your body is used to, and get the functional movement that we need. So the first thing we're going to try is I'm going to have John put his toes on our block here. Now we're using half roller foam blocks. These are about 3 inches high. If you don't have these, that's totally fine. Get a big beach towel, roll it up. That's going to give you about the same width or distance that we need. I have his toes propped up. I'm going to give him a second block. I want this one right between the knees, where the knees hinge. And I want him to put a clamp-like pressure on that block. I want him to maintain that pressure the whole time. That's very important. Go ahead and reach up for me, John. From this position, fully extended, he's going to reach down for those toes with the knees slightly bent and putting a lot of pressure on that block. Keep the pressure, squeeze your glutes, and reach up for the ceiling for me. Now that's 1 rep. We're going to do about 10. So go ahead and keep going, just down and up, down and up. Now hopefully what you can see is with each repetition, he's getting a little lower each time. Whether he's trying to or not, his body is allowing him the movement that we're trying to get. We're teaching his hips, his legs, that he can reach further. If you're someone that says, I've never been able to touch my toes in my life, this exercise could change that for you. As simple as 10 reps with your toes propped up, and then we're going to go into our next variation with the heels propped up. Now when the heels are propped up, there's going to be more of a balance challenge. So go slow, don't go crazy fast, because we're trying to teach your body how to hinge from the hips. You will feel more activation coming from your abdominals, from your core. You might feel more of a balance challenge throughout your body. That's totally okay. Try to get for me. The movement is the same. Reaching up for the ceiling, then hinging forward, reaching for the toes. And this controlled speed is the speed I'd like for you guys to do it at as well. Does not need to be fast. You need to control the movement and try to reach as far as you can for your toes. Reach as high as you can for the ceiling. As you rise up, squeeze your glutes, contract your butt muscles, contract your abs as you reach down. About 10 reps again should be sufficient. And don't forget that clamp-like pressure on the block. Good. Okay, so we're going to pretend that he's done 10, 20 reps on both. Go and try that toe touch again. Now, if you guys are doing this on your own, start with that toe touch. See how far you get. do the forward fold exercise, and then retest and see how much closer you guys can get with this task. Okay. Boom. Now he's already pretty mobile, but he's exaggerating how well this can work. Now I'm very, very certain if you did only this, your hinge will get better. Your mobility through the backside of your legs and hip will get better if this is all you did. This is a great warm-up exercise before you play, you practice, you work out. Now that's our first progression exercise. The next one's gonna be more of a mobility exercise, and we'll show that to you in a second. Okay, here's our second progression for our hip mobility improvement that we're gonna show you guys. What this is called is a waiter's bow. I've also heard it called a forward hinge, a hip hinge exercise, also good morning. Doesn't matter. We're just gonna try to improve the hip hinge with the wall and the club. So take a club, preferably a long iron. You can use your driver if you want to. And I want John and myself to place the prop that we're using from the tailbone, the shoulder blades, and then the back of the head. So John's gonna show it from you from down the line perspective. I'm gonna show this to you coming at you this way. What I want both of us to do is get our foot length away from the wall. So we're gonna put one heel against the baseboard of the wall, the other foot heel against the big toe, and then we're gonna set our feet, our foot length distance away from the wall. That's very important because if you go too far out, this is gonna be impossible. If you're too close, you're not gonna feel it. But a foot length is perfect. Golf posture, keeping that shaft of the club at the back of the head, the shoulder blades, and the tailbone, and then we're gonna bow, pushing our hips back, trying to touch our butts to the wall, and then rising back up, clenching our glutes, okay? So we're gonna hinge from the hips back, then popping back up. Now what we're trying to do is stretch out those hamstrings at the same time our glutes touch the wall. You should feel them both happening roughly at the same time. Can you feel that, John?
Yep.
Perfect. Yep. Excellent. Now you can see how John's doing the hinge. Back is straight. We still have the natural curvature of the spine in the lower back and the neck. We're not trying to straighten that out too much, but we're trying to maintain this neutral posture as we hinge the hips. If your body has an easier time hinging the hips this far, you can imagine how much easier golf posture will be. It will not be a struggle to maintain that hip hinge when you set up and as you're moving through your swing. Now we did one arm up, one arm behind. It's really important that you switch hand positions as well. Sometimes you might have a restriction, maybe it's in your upper back, your spine, and for some reason you may not get as far with one hand up or the other. So do 10 reps with your left arm up, and then do 10 more reps with the right arm up. And keeping that hinge going, okay? 10 reps on each side, 1 or 2 sets. This is another great warm-up exercise before you work out, before you practice, or before you play. You're gonna teach those hips how to hold a better hip hinge as you move. Okay, so here's our last progression. This is our strength exercise, just to help improve this hip hinge ability in your body. Now, if you had a hard time with the previous 2 exercises, I would not suggest doing what we're about to demonstrate until those first 2 exercises become more easy or more proficient for you to do. If those are great, you felt it, you feel like you're holding posture, and you feel like you're ready for more of a challenge, then let's show you a deadlift using a kettlebell. Now, we're using a kettlebell, we can use a dumbbell, we can use a bar, we can use a medicine ball, any type of prop with some weight is gonna work. Now, we're using 35 pounds, I know John has done this before, he can handle this weight. If you're just starting to learn how to do this type of exercise, start with 5, 10 pounds until you feel like you've mastered that weight. If you can do 10 to 15 reps per set of 2 sets, then I would say start to increase the weight to where you can do 8 to 12 reps with good form and technique. If you're not sure, get a trainer. Call us here at Fitness by Andrew, find a trainer on mytpi.com, and they will help you for sure. Okay, so John's gonna demonstrate the deadlift for me. Now what I'm gonna have John do is straddle the kettlebell. Now if you're using a dumbbell or a medicine ball, it's the same technique. If you're using a barbell, it's gonna be a little different. So stick with something simple. Move a little more forward for me, John. I'm gonna have John line his ankles up with the kettlebell, so even more. There we go. Then he's gonna hinge down, he's gonna bend his knees almost into a squat just to get set. Now this is important. I want his elbows, the pit where these lines are, pointing forward. What that does is it helps line up his shoulders with shoulder blades so he has a nice neutral posture here. And you can see how flat his back is. He has the mobility to do this. If you cannot get into this position, do not do the deadlift. If you can, get ready, here we go. So we're gonna squeeze glutes. He's gonna rise up nice and tall, just like that, fully extended, clenching the glutes, and then stick your hips back out. Perfect, and keep going for it. Now what I'm watching for is his shins. What makes this a deadlift movement is the shins stay vertical. If this was a squat, his shins would angle forward, which they are not doing. When the shins are vertical, it keeps the tension, the pressure in his hamstrings, his gluteals, the backside of his hips. If you are bringing those knees forward, you are losing the benefit of the deadlift, okay? So we're gonna do about 10. He's doing a great job keeping the elbow pits forward and a great job keeping his shoulders back, and he's pushing those hips back, just like we were doing for that good morning, that waiter's bow, pushing the hips back, trying to exaggerate the tension through the hips. Good, and when you're done, bend the knees, set it down, release the weight, and done. About 10 reps, try for 15. If you can do 15 of the weight that you're starting with, try to go a little heavier. 8 to 12 reps is a great margin to shoot for. If you need help, call us here at Fitness by Andrew, or look on mytpi.com for a TPI trainer that might be in your area, and we'll be sure to help you. So again, this is Andrew Fodge with Fitness by Andrew Personal Training out here in Scottsdale. This is John Greig with Tatum Golf Club, the head pro, and hopefully this helps you. If you have any questions, take a video of yourself, put it on Instagram, on Facebook, send it to us. We'll take a look at it and let you know what we think. All right, have a great month.